Hey folks, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm taking a look at an interview that is Graystones related. It's of Taylor Parcell, who is Grayson's older sister, Grayson being the drummer for the Graystones. The interviewer is The Top Gun Show, which is a channel on YouTube. They're going to talk a little bit about the band and the fact that they've got already 250 million views in very short time. So I look forward to checking this out. There's not a whole lot of interviews that are related to the Graystones right now on YouTube. And yes, I am hoping to get an interview at some point in the future. I've been asking for one featuring the actual kids involved since they're the musicians. You know, this is their project, really. And I've also said, wait till you're ready to do that, because after all, these are kids. But this is the older sister of Grayson, so I figure she'll have a lot of good information. I have spoken with Grayson's father on a few occasions on the phone, and he mentioned that Grayson's sister is frequently the one who comes up with the suggestions for the band. I think she's one of the main sources for those suggestions. So she is very much involved in what's going on. So this whole thing is less than 9 minutes long. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, just know that I'm always taking a look at non-music content that features bands that are touring today or performing in general. If that interests you, please subscribe so you won't miss anything. All right, let's go ahead and check this out.
Today, I'm thrilled to introduce my audience to something refreshingly different. Please meet Taylor Parcell, the band manager for the Graystones. Now, if you haven't heard of the Graystones, you've been living under a rock. This band is made up of mostly 12-year-olds. They started hitting the social media circuit just 6 months ago. In March of 2025, they had about 1,000 YouTube followers. Now, they have about 2 million subscribers across YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok combined. The total number of views that their songs have received is over 260 million across all platforms in this very short amount of time. When I heard this band, I was like, gosh, how do I get the band manager on my show? Well, Taylor, welcome to the Top Gun Show. You're on the Top Gun Show.
Hi, Steve. Thanks so much for having me on the show.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, let's start at the top. Where did this band come from?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very cool origin story. My younger brother, Grayson, who's the drummer, he basically came home one day and was like, hey, I want to start a band. So we started reaching out, asking friends. He went to school and asked everyone at school, like, are there any musicians? And he found Max, who is the bassist. He invited him over. They started jamming, and they became best friends. And this was towards the end of 4th grade. And then from there, Grayson was downtown in a park, and he found Hope, one of our singers, performing on stage with her mom.
Very nice.
And
okay, I don't know what park they're talking about exactly. We do see them occasionally on Santana Row. Of course, this would have been before the band actually got started, and also maybe a couple of years ago, since she said the 4th grade, which would place them at what, 9, 10 maybe, if they're lucky. Interesting. Okay.
And he found Philip, who's our sax player, busking on the street.
Oh, nice.
And Harin, who's our keyboard player, he's the only one who responded to our Nextdoor ad. And
all right, keyboard players are notoriously hard to find. Okay, so if you want to get involved in a great band, study the keyboards. It'll be a whole lot easier for you to get into any band if you are a really good keyboard player.
then let's see, Izzy, who is our other singer, she was a star of a school musical. So she goes to school with Grayson and Max. And then piece by piece, they sort of fell into place. You know, the guitar players are family friends of the band members. And that's basically how the Graystones came together.
Okay. Right,
that's amazing. What a great story. It just kind of happened. You know, they're really gifted performers. I haven't watched them 260 million times, but...
All right. So just to make note, anybody out there that's thinking, you know, maybe I'm younger, maybe I want to start a band. I mean, there were some very good ways to meet people in there. Not one, but several different possible ways to come across new musicians. It sounds like Max was already in the school with Grayson, and so they met that way and started playing it, and they make quite the rhythm section. And then they happened on Izzy, who happened to be doing the theater in the same school. So that was a very good situation. You know, they got to see how good she was even before they asked her, I would imagine. So same thing with Hope, you know, coming across her in a park. So this is why it's good to have outdoor music in public places, if you ask me, because that's a great way to network. Another way, if you're a little bit older, is an open mic. And I say a little bit older because most open mics, you need to be of a certain age to get in. I mean, it depends on what kind of venue it is. If it's a coffee shop, you're good. You can be any age. But most open mics seem to be held at bars, so you would have to be 21. So if you're a little bit older, that is a great way to network and find people in your neighborhood and also get an idea of just what they can do, even before you approach them to start working with them in a project. It's good that they met her in. It seems to be a truth, and I can say that as a keyboard player. Keyboard players are in short supply, especially for rock music projects, pop music projects. I mean, people that can sequence, that's one thing. But to actually be able to sit down and figure out a song and do it and perhaps do a little bit of improvisation to help support the rest of the act, that's not easy to find. Okay, so if you're looking for a niche that will get you into a really good band, study the piano, get good at it, play along to records, and that part actually holds true for any instrument that you're going to pick up. Just to make the point that there are all kinds of ways to meet people. Yes, Nextdoor is also a great way to network these days.
I've got my share in of views. Now, I've heard that some of the bands that songs that you've performed have reached out to you, such as Supertramp, Sade, and Toto. What have they said to you?
Classy.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really exciting to hear all the kind of support and all these huge musicians reaching out to us. I can read off some of the things that they wrote us.
Yes.
So we lost one of the greatest recently,
Yeah.
The passing of the legendary Rick Davies of Supertramp.
Indeed.
But a few months earlier, he reached out basically saying that he saw a clip of us doing the Logical song. He said, "Well done and keep going."
Oh.
Sade wrote us a few months ago saying, you know, "Brilliant. I am now their greatest fans," among other things. Steve Lukather, he recently wrote about
Excellent.
our cover of Toto's first single, "Hold the Line." He said, "Guys,
Well, let's hear what he said first.
that's fantastic. Honored you would play our song and do it so well. Great solo and the vocals are killer." And David Page.
Can I just say, okay, David Page is another person in the band, but when we were looking at that Toto cover, we actually called out Steve Lukather by name and said, "I'll bet you anything Steve Lukather would be into this."
Toto would be quite swept away by this performance.
Yeah, I think they would. My guess is Steve Lukather would be very proud.
Also commented about the Toto hit, and he himself wrote the song. He said, "Just had a still life flashback. Wow, these kids are amazing, making Toto themselves guys proud."
So
And
good.
we've had other great comments come from Questlove, Cheryl Crow, Reese Witherspoon, and it's been so exciting and so motivational for all the band members to hear, you know, these people that they look up to reach
That's
out.
awesome.
That's
awesome.
great. That's great. Thanks for sharing that. Good job. Well, I know you have some performances lined up in the near future, and I noticed you even have a tip jar. Like out in front of
Oh,
a
every
hall.
musician
You have a tip
should
jar
have one.
in some of your videos. So, what's next for the Graystones in the near future, and where do you, Taylor, plan to take this fabulous band in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a mix of public and private shows lined up, like plus charity events like the American Cancer Society and more. We've already done some nonprofit fundraisers, and we love being a part of those. Right now, we're really focused on covers. I mean, we shoot them just inside our living room. And it's a really great opportunity for each of the band members to learn from these great musicians themselves. But, you know, I've talked to each member themselves, and I think that they see themselves creating their own music and starting to produce their own songs, which I think is really special and really great for them. But, you know, right now they're really focused on just growing and finding their own music, their own sound, their own taste and style. But the sky's the limit for them.
Yeah, I agree. As a matter of fact, that's exactly how it should go. A great way to break into music is playing other people's songs and getting a feel, playing with other musicians, kind of learning about your own musical identity, because every musician has one, all right? You have your very own unique identity in there somewhere, all right? The more you play, the more likely it is you'll find it. Once you have your musical identity, you've got that thing that makes you special as a musician. You know, it's your mark. There's something about each member of the Graystones that is specific to them, and that's the thing to strive for. And yeah, once you've done that for a little while, once you've kind of conquered other songs, playing other people's songs helps bring out other things that might be useful. Then you can start looking at actually creating material of your own. And just given what we've seen the kids play so far, I mean, they've got a wealth of music to pick up from, to learn things from. Most of the songs that they have gone after are more complicated than most cover bands will go for. That means that there are nuances that they are getting experience with that should help them when they get around to writing their own stuff. All right, there's not much left on here, so let's see if I can let it run to the end.
I will say the sky's the limit. I mean, that group is incredible. And you know the cool thing, I mean, they're good, they're talented, but they're having fun. I mean, you can just tell they enjoy jamming together in the house with their socks on, and I mean, they're just having a great time, and I think that's what's so refreshing about it. So where can people go to find more of your songs or see you live, and when do you think that Taylor Swift will be your opening act?
I mean, that would be really great if we could perform for Taylor Swift, but that is a huge dream for us. You could find all of our future shows on thegraystones.com. You can also find our YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok through there, where we try to produce and put out a video or a cover every couple of weeks.
Well, Taylor, I know you're busy. You probably got homework to do. I really appreciate you carving out time out of your busy personal schedule and band schedule to be on the Top Gun show. Will you do me a big favor? When you come to Phoenix to play at the Chase Center with 60,000 people in it, can you just let me know? I would love to buy a ticket and get somewhere near the front row. I would love it. Will you let me know when you come to Phoenix?
I will be sure to let you know.
All right, deal. Well, Taylor, keep up the good work. Tell the band that Steve Farmelo, the host of the Top Gun show, says to keep going. I'm so proud of them, and I love watching everything you guys put out. Thanks for being on the show today.
Thanks so much for having me, Steve. It was so nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Excellent. Okay. Nice short but sweet interview. And sure, maybe at this point in their career, there's not much else to say, really. Although I would wonder about that. I think there are some things we could dig into. I would like to learn a little bit more about what made each individual musician get excited about starting to play music, whether it was just the instrument or if there was a particular song or artist that inspired them or a particular experience, things like that. I'd like to ask each individual musician in the group about that, because I'm sure we'll get a different story for each one. And it would just be interesting, and we might learn a little bit more about their roots. So the rumor going around right now is that Max and Grayson are trying to work up Spirit of Radio by Rush. As some of you know, we've got somewhere close to 100 Rush reactions over on the other channel. We were doing them regularly every week for a long time, and then said, you know what, we've covered most of the Rush catalog at this point. We do love them. Actually, that was the point where we opened things up and started looking for cover bands, and one of the first we found was the Graystones. So while we miss doing Rush every week, we are still very thankful that there are other bands out there worthy of our time, including this one, and we're certainly going to keep our eyes peeled on what they end up doing. And of course, if the band doesn't go beyond another year or whatever, because you never know what's going to happen, what changes are going to happen in life or whatever. What they're doing right now is high level already. We're already thankful to see them doing what they're doing right now. If they continue, that's fantastic. Would love to see it. But folks, why don't you let me know what you thought of this particular interview? And if you had a question for the Graystones, what would it be? Like if they were in front of you right now, what would you ask? And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you enjoyed the presentation, please subscribe. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll catch you on the next one, all right? Take care, folks.